Everyone, join with me with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Hi. Hello. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to everybody. Let's hope it's a good one. I have no additions to the agenda. I have no chair's remarks except for to wish everybody a Happy New Year, and I hope and pray that everybody has a happy, healthy, and loving year. Public participation, anybody that has anything, and that should be open comment. If anybody has anything that's not on the agenda, now's the time. Seeing none, we'll move on. What I'm going to do, and I'll ask the board if we get there, if we run a long time with the audit results, then we're going to try to take the librarian first, then capital plan, because so Cindy has worked all day so that she won't have to stay too awful late. So, Chad, would you come up? How are you?
Very well, yourself?
Very well. I don't think you've met Josh Unruh,
I think we did a previous meeting.
Yeah, that's right.
Met you.
Emily Vergobi,
Yeah, I talked to Emily several times.
and you know Sandy,
Yep, yep.
and Katrina.
Katrina, yep. And you're down one, right?
We are tonight,
Yep, yep.
yes.
Okay. For
So-
temporarily or?
No, just for tonight.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. They're on their way back from somewhere. So, anyway, we have our reports.
Yep.
And I've read some over. I think I would like to have you start first, and we'll let you go through most of it. If we need to interject, we will. I will ask, allow the audience after the complete report is done. Then if you have questions, then I'll take a few, as long as it doesn't take too long.
Okay.
Okay?
Did you want Cindy up here as well, or?
Yes, I do.
All right.
So, of course I want Cindy up here.
I mean, ultimately, these are Cindy's numbers, so,
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
that's why.
absolutely.
Put her on.
I
the
did,
hot-
I wasn't even thinking. so
Put her on the
give
hot
me
seat,
Cindy.
and I wasn't sure, so.
Yeah.
Um,
I can kick him in.
And definitely, I mean, feel free to interject with any questions, comments. I know you've had the audit report for a while to look at it. But what I want to do is I want to turn to pages just one, 2, and 3, and I just want to quickly just kind of give a narrative of what this is, and it's what we call our audit opinion. And this is really, these 3 pages are technically the only thing that's mine. This is our report saying what the quality of the financial statements are for the town of Vernon.
Okay.
Everything else in here is technically Cindy. It's the town's. It's all derived from work that she did. This is basically, this letter is our blessing, if you will, of how the town did. And what this report is, it's an unqualified opinion, which is the best you can get. So there's it just doesn't get any better than that. So that's basically that's great. You guys can say you can't get any better than that. So there you go.
Okay.
Yep.
Good.
Pages 4 and 5, they're called exhibits A and B. And I'm gonna kind of skip over these a little bit because 4 or 5 years ago, the GASB, the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, required. They said, hey, you know what? Towns should also report like a business. But the thing is, it's kind of type of reporting that's not very useful right now for municipalities. Like, for instance, it includes the value, not the value, the depreciated value of your buildings. It has, well, you guys don't have debt, but it includes the debt. It's things that are just not currently relative to your operating general funds. So, but again, what the Government Accounting Standards Board says, hey, we want you basically to have two sets of financial statements in your audit report. One like a business, which is exhibits A and B, and then one like you normally would, which is really just tracking your individual funds. So I'm kind of not gonna skip over A and B for a little bit, but in a nutshell though, I mean, including your fixed assets the town has, I mean, you guys are very well funded, you have significant reserves. You actually have a net position, which net position is defined as depreciated value of assets minus any liabilities. The net position is $8.4 million, and which is great. And of that $8.4 million, 3.4 is actually tied up in your fixed assets, things you can't spend. Your roads, your trucks, your fire trucks, your paving, and all that stuff. But other than that, I mean, again, lots of reserve money here. Main focus, I think, of the audit report should be on pages 6 and 7, and these are basically the individual fund financial statements of the town, and you'll see that there's 4 columns and a total column here. Again, the Governmental Accounting Standards Board tells us as auditors that says, hey, when you put these reports together, put what's called the major funds, the most important funds first. And it's actually a criteria on how it defines them. And then you subtotal all the minor funds in a single column. And that's the 4th column over is called non-major funds. And there's schedules in the back that really define these major funds, but it's the less significant funds. But in this town, your general fund is always a major fund. That's the most significant. But this town, based on the definition, has 2 other major funds, which is your emergency capital reserve fund and then just your capital fund. Those are and from a work aspect, that's where we spend the most of our focus, because we're told we have to focus mainly on the major funds. The other thing that GASB, and actually this was a change 2 years ago, is that you guys are used to having your general fund being, I think it's Fund 10. GASB says, hey, there's some funds that sometimes have to be molded with a general fund, because if they don't meet a certain criteria, like I'm gonna give you an example. You guys have a separate fund for dogs. And really, that's just not required, because it's that the dogs licenses, that's like a component of the general fund. It's no different than a town clerk collecting fees, but it's just you kind of segregated that out. Another fund that gets merged with the general fund is the unemployment fund, because it was funded with taxes, tax monies, and it's just something that's. And the thing is, I know why you guys set up a long time ago. So there's 3 or 4 funds that also get combined with the general fund. The other one, you got your senior fund, which is putting away money for seniors. Again, you guys, the reason that these have to be combined with the general fund is because one, there has not been a separate vote by the voters to separate these. I know you guys have funded them.
I was just gonna ask you, did we need a...
And that's what kind of delineates whether or not it has to be combined with the general fund or not. Like for instance, you guys have, like for instance, your elderly assistance. That was a fund set up years ago by the voters. The professional service fund, the scholarship fund. Those were all set up by the voters.
Right.
But the senior fund, that wasn't, and the what's the other one there?
Dog fund,
Yeah, the dog fund and
unemployment.
unemployment, and the Vernon seniors and historian expenses. Those are.
So that's within the general fund anyway. The seniors and the historians are within the general fund or the select board budget.
No, they're their own separate funds. They own their own separate fund numbers.
The historians don't.
No.
Oh, right, historians don't, correct, you're right,
Yeah.
historians don't.
And the seniors,
Oh,
there
okay.
used to be one that was for the seniors, but that was closed out.
Right, but the thing is,
Yeah.
but we actually assigned, they actually reserved some money, is that correct?
There-
No.
At the end of the year?
Oh, yes, they did.
Yes,
Yes.
they carried over some
They
money.
carried over some
Oh,
money.
yes.
There are separate funds.
Yes.
Sorry,
Okay,
yes,
Yes,
we do.
they carried
Have
over
a
money.
few
Okay.
Both of them
departments
did.
that do that, yes.
So and then one other one is the surplus reserve fund. And I'm going to want to talk about that a little bit once we're done here, so.
Okay.
But looking at page 6, the town had, just look at the general fund, furthest column to the left, the town had total assets of a little shy of $600,000. It had liabilities of about $192,000. It had another, it's basically a form of liability called deferred inflows of resources. It's just, like I said, it's another form of liability, it's $71,000. And what that does, it leaves a total fund balance of the general fund of $336,000, which sounds good until you break it down a little bit, in the sense of the $336,000, you can see that there's four classifications of fund balance at the bottom.
Yes.
The first one is called non-spendable, which is $162,000. And what that is the town has spent things that they can't really turn into cash. You know, that is your inventory. So you've bought the gravel, you've bought the diesel fuel, and it's non-spendable. You can't easily. And the other part of that is prepaid expenses. And Cindy and I have talked about that, about like once you advance pay someone, you can't get that money back easily. So that's another. So Cindy and I have talked about really trying to limit the amount of prepaid. Like during the year, it doesn't matter, but at the tail end of the year, really limiting how much. Like if a bill is due, she has a bill is due June 28th for insurance or for the police. We're going to suggest try to pay it on July 1st, because it really just it shuffles the deck of about the type of fund balance you have, whether or not it's non-spendable or assigned. I mean unassigned. Unassigned is the best. Unassigned is your not your fluff, but it's available for anything. So that's where a lot of your fund balance was tied up. Then there's $34,000 that was tied up. And that's basically restricted for highway money. That is the amount of highway surplus that's carried over. And then the rest of it was truly assigned, meaning you guys had specific purposes for that. It was $138,000. Now, actually, can you turn to page 26 for a second? I'm sorry, 24. So right halfway down the page, you'll see where it says major funds on the left, and it says general fund. And there's 2, 4, 6, there's 8 different assignments. And again, what these assignments are things that the select board have actually basically have plans for. And going down through there, the first thing, $87,800. When you guys presented your FY 2016 budget, you basically said, "Hey, we want to give back part of our surplus." It was $87,000, and essentially, when you guys set the tax rate, you said, "Hey, we're going to spend. I don't have the budget numbers. We're going to spend $2.6 million, and we're only going to bring in revenue of $2,520,000 because we want to technically lose $80,000. Use up your surplus." Then you also included in the general fund, like I said, the dog money. Again, it's $20,900. Again, personally, I think that should just be closed out and just moved to the general fund, because it's all that ever happens is dog fees come in, dog fees go out. I mean, it's really, unless you have a plan to build a big dog kennel, there's nothing specific that this money's ever going to do that I'm aware of.
Should it be a line item within the select board's budget then, for the expenses of the dog fund?
Well, what does the dog fund really have for expenses?
Well, it used to have.
It used to have, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what
Years
you were-
ago, we used to pay for a dog pound and a
Right.
pound keeper and so on and so
Yep.
forth.
And that's what I've heard, and that's what it comes down to, is that if there's no specific use for this money, and I know, understandably, just like the unemployment, you guys, a long time ago, you guys set aside a lot of money for the unemployment, for future claims, but it just really doesn't need to be in a separate fund. But right now, for your dogs, you collect $10 in a dog license, and you pay out basically. So I don't.
Does the Wyndham County Humane Society come out of there?
Yes.
We pay $600 and something a year to the Wyndham County Humane Society.
And really,
for
We could
housing
set
our-
that up as a
Yep,
line
exactly.
item.
Just I mean, so this money could just be absorbed into the general fund, your normal general fund. Then annually, as part of your select board budget $700 for dog license. And really, what that does is that just infuses $20,000 towards your general operations.
Right.
And it just kind of eliminates a reserve fund that you really don't need.
Okay.
If you thought there was going to be a change in legislation related to dogs, and everybody's going to have a dog officer or something like that, that's going to require a lot of money, yeah, that'd be a different story. But I don't think that's the case. So,
But what would we do with the unemployment, I don't mean to keep
Yep, no, that's fine.
interrupting you, but what would we do with the unemployment then? Because the taxpayers do raise money for the unemployment fund, the taxpayers themselves, in an article. If we need money, if we
okay.
need money in there.
And I guess I'd argue, Chris, do you need, I mean, based on history, are you shelling out much for unemployment claims? And maybe it's,
I thought we did, but maybe
No,
not.
In recent years, we've shelled
Yeah.
out more than we have.
okay. And I'm just gonna tell you, I mean, what you're doing is wrong. No, what I typically see amongst all the other municipalities is, again, it's just part of the select board's budget that they have. It's no different than you budget for VLCT passive for your workers' comp and liability insurance. And this is just another type of insurance.
Well, this, at least, is set off aside, and if we need more money, we ask the citizens to raise a little bit more for us to put in there, and then it kind of reimburses the town. But if we did it, we'd have to every year budget a certain amount in anticipation of, am I correct?
Right, but the thing is, then the question is, when do you have enough reserves? I could play devil's advocate here from the voters' perspective and say, hey, do you really need to raise more unemployment money when you have 60 or you have
We only raise it.
$55,000?
They've only raised it when they knew that there was a big
Yeah.
need coming.
Okay, and maybe it's the one where you can get away with not raising it and just start utilizing up some of this fund balance. So.
Yeah, okay.
Another big piece of the general fund that is in the general fund, but it's earmarked or assigned, again, the terminology is assigned meaning designated, is you have the J. Maynard Miller Forest Fund. Again, but just because this is money, it's just town forest money, it was never a fund that was actually specifically set up by the voters. It's intended, or it's designated by the board for the forest, but I think if you guys wanted to, you guys could say, hey, we want to use this forest money on painting the downstairs, because the voters haven't said anything, and it's really just, it's an assignment by the select board.
I think that was an article that brought forth that fund.
Okay, we
Years and years and
we
years ago.
we researched a long ways, we didn't find anything that it was,
Well, I can't say for sure.
Okay.
But I can tell you that it probably was 1970s
okay.
that it may have been set up, late 70s or early 80s.
Okay, 'cause
That it was
remember
set
we
up,
went back.
and it was an article that set it up, I think.
Yeah, and I remember I remember there being an article discussing the use of the money that it's gonna be happening, and they're gonna maintain the town forest.
Well,
But
that would be why we went with the article to discuss it, was because it was an article for the town to
Right.
bring it, to start it.
And I don't know if there's
to
just, again, Cindy did a lot of the research, and I don't think we ever found something actually establishing it. So, but it could be just a formality of, and again, so it's $178,000 that I don't know if you guys have tentative plans for, of spending this money, or, because, anyway, so that's out there, so it's been added to the general fund, but again, it's assigned, because there's certain, you guys have said, okay, it's for the forest, but again, I think unless there's a certain article or vote that I've never seen, that, it could be used for painting these walls, or even a parking lot, or anything. I think it's a select board discretion, so. So what we come back down to is, we have, back on page 6, I said we only have $138,000. Yep,
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Back on page 24,
yep.
assigned in excess of available fund balance.
That's where I was just gonna get there, is that, what that number is, Sandy, is, we said on the front, from our general fund, we have assets and liabilities, and the difference is this is what we have. But unfortunately, we have more plans than what we have money for.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yes, and so really what happened is, and I was gonna get into really what happened here is, this particular year, when this budget was set 2 years ago, this is before the first audit, is that the voters, I mean, the voters approved giving back 300, and actually if you turn to page 33, the voters wanted to give back $333,000 of surplus. Unfortunately, you guys never had that to give back.
Oh, that's great.
And so really, and so this particular year, you can see like on page 33, that you guys lost $164,000. When I say lost, you intended to. You actually wanted to lose money. You wanted to give back. You actually had surplus to say, you know what, we got too much surplus. Unfortunately, at that time, there hadn't been an audit in progress, and you just didn't have that much money to give back.
Yeah, we do that every year,
Well,
I thought. Not this year, I'm sure.
You typically have, but unfortunately, you just, when the budget was set, you just did not actually have the money to give back based upon the audited results.
Wow.
So, but in reality, you guys were actually lucky because you actually wanted to lose or give back to the
Well, of
voters
course.
$333,000. You actually only lost $164,000. So it was actually, you actually kind of got lucky. It was favorable.
Okay, if you call that lucky.
Yeah, it is, because essentially, had your budget, had your 2015 budget come to fruition, just had you planned, you guys really would have been in much worse shape.
Yeah. I guess.
So what I'm saying here is that, yes, Sandy, we have these intended plans more of $264,000 more than what we have. Now, I think that's self-correctable in a couple ways. One, just talking out loud here, is that a year and a half ago, you guys established the surplus reserve fund.
Right.
You put $50,000, the voters approved, the voters set it up. I don't really think you should have done that because you really didn't have the surplus to set that aside. So really what I think as the board is that they just actually probably, like I say, I'm not an attorney, I'm not sure exactly how to go about it, but is that I would unassign that and say, listen, we no longer have those surpluses that we thought we had. Just give it back to the general fund.
Okay.
And so I think that easily corrects it corrects $50,000 of it. And then like the dogs, right there, that adds $20,000 to that.
Yeah.
But then I'm looking at, I've looked at your 2017 budget, and I think that there are things that, your 2016 budget, and I think that there's gonna be many tax savings that I think that your projected items for 2016 is gonna save you guys a lot of money. Like, for instance, budgeting for a town administrator. You guys budgeted for it,
Right.
but you don't have it. So that's $50,000 right to the bottom line. And I think there's gonna be many cases like this. I mean, like right away, it hasn't snowed and the road crews, they're not getting their overtime, which is great
Right.
for you guys.
Right. I think that we almost had plans to hold that money over from the administrator's position, hold it over for this year so we could offer him a good salary, but.
And this is kind of the problem where,
In addition,
I don't know, I think we didn't make a motion or anything like that.
Okay.
I think that we discussed it, but
and so really, I think there's some corrective action, I shouldn't say corrective action, but again, adjusting those reserves by like the $20,000 and $50,000, that's $70,000. Also, just by having Cindy not prepay the items like we talked about earlier, that could swing this deficit by a good $120,000. And again, it really will, it kind
but
of.
do we prepay a lot?
Oh, you do. The biggest thing is the county sheriff, right?
yes.
Okay. And what I know,
They want to be paid 3 months in advance.
which is,
So
I
in
see.
June, they want to be paid for July, August, and September.
Oh, we're
But
gonna
you-
have to stop that,
and
right?
what I mentioned, I mean,
Yeah.
instead of paying them in June, just pay it on July 1st.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing. And
That's good. Yeah, yeah.
unfortunately, it's, so you're thinking, okay, what's a day? Whether that's paid on June 30th or July 1st.
It's
But
a big day.
It's a timing day.
Yes.
It really is.
Makes a big difference.
So,
People that have accounting know that.
Yeah, and the other one was, and Cindy knows now, VLCT Passive always sends out their insurance, and that was paid for the entire year.
It
but
doesn't have to be.
She doesn't have to be, so now it's gonna be just paid quarterly.
Oh, good.
So one, it
Very
helps
good.
out, with cash flow.
Yep.
And now she'll pay it in January, April 1st, then July 1st. So-
Very good.
So right there, I mean, just by a few adjustments like that, some savings here,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that I think that, I mean, a lot of your expenses will typically come under budget. I really think next year when we're sitting here talking, I think the town's gonna be in a much
good light.
much favorable position.
Yep.
Without, I'm kind of giving an anonymous report here in the sense that, God, we have all these plans that we don't have money for, but I really think if we had a time machine, we could forecast that out, so, that for it to be favorable, so. So while we're talking about it, just so we know, I just want to turn to pages 28 through 33.
I wanted to ask one more question.
Absolutely.
About the reserved surplus fund or whatever it is.
Which one? The
The one that has the 50 in it.
okay, yep.
Reserve.
Yep.
Because we set that up because of a recommendation by you, I believe,
Was it
last year.
by me or from the prior auditor?
No.
It was, they,
Because I thought
it
you,
was recommended that with the fund balance, that we keep some
Mm-hmm.
fund balance. And that got switched around to being, let's reserve some money
Yes.
over here. So they took that money and put it into another fund, which kind of counteracted what you were trying to do.
Exactly.
Okay.
So what, I mean, just so you know, what we recommend, actually see what GASB, the Governmental Accounting Standard Board, recommend, and they've kind of flip-flopped on this a little bit. They're wanting municipalities to keep a lot more out there. Personally, in my opinion is, I think it's a little high, but really 15 to 20% of your
That's what you
budget
said.
is really, and I was, as a taxpayer, I'm thinking 20%, meaning that, 20% of your budget is $540,000. That just seems a lot for contingencies where could your budget really, again, I'm talking as a taxpayer now, not as an accountant, but it's like, okay, why would I need $540,000 of surplus for future emergencies? Because typically when surplus is used for the emergencies, if you have a flood and you need to come up with your local match. I think I've given examples here before where I had one town, they just forgot, they bought a grader and they just forgot to budget the payment. And so it's an error, but they had $60,000, like they had surplus, they had $60,000 of surplus that they could make that grader payment. Same municipality had an ice jam in a river. So they had to hire a crane to come in and beat on ice for a week, and it cost them $40,000. Again, FEMA didn't cover it, so those are the reasons why you have the surplus, just for the unexpected.
Yep.
I mean, if it snows 2 inches every day, that's worse than having 6 3-foot snowstorms, because those trucks are rolling
Yes,
diesel fuel and stuff like that.
absolutely.
So it's just having the surplus just for the unanticipated actions. Personally, I think 20% is high. I mean, even 15% is on the high part. But again, it's philosophy. I have some towns that they say, no, we don't want anything. We don't want any fund balance. But what happens there is their tax rate, the tax rate kind of goes like this. Is that, okay, they actually had a deficit, so you gotta raise the tax rate, and then the deficit comes down. I mean, ideally, you want your tax rate like that.
Yeah.
And that way people don't feel it. So again, maintaining fund balance is completely philosophy, but the rule of thumb is 15 to 20%. Personally, I think 15 I should be on the high side. So,
Thank you.
yep.
Sorry about that.
Turn to just pages 28 to 33. This is how the general fund basically appears as far as budgetary purposes. And one of the things, just so you guys know, that we've recommended, I know Cindy has adopted for her 2016 budget and even further for the 2017 budget, is as an expanded revenue budget number. In the past, it's just said, hey, we're gonna have $215,000 of other revenue. That's why there's only 2 revenue lines there. But now going forward, I mean, she's actually budgeted, okay, I know I'm gonna get this much in town clerk recording fees, this much in preschool money, this much in recreation money. Again, to try to give a little bit, to better forecast the results. And But really, looking at the revenues actually came, they're actually over budget by about $31,000. You're looking at the top of page 28. Came over budget by 31,000. And then after that is every single budgeted expense line, and you'll see that most all the expenses were really under budget in total. Treasurer's office under budget by 10 grand. The lister's budget under budget by 11 grand. Select board department under budget by 25 grand. Just general expenses by 20 grand. And again, based on these past experiences, is why I think next year's it's not going to be a problem. I think that I think that the tide's going to turn. And keep going down through it. I mean, recreation is under budget. Buildings and grounds is $24,000 under budget. And that's where I said a few minutes ago is that you guys planned on losing $333,000, but because of all these, every single department saving money, you really only ended up losing 160, whatever the number was. You ended up losing only 164. So it was very favorable. And so that's why I have confidence that this, based on the town of Vernon's spending history, that you guys are going to come much under budget next year, and the numbers are going to look really good. So that's really the major focus of the general fund. Turning back to page 6 and 7 for a second. The second column, you'll see emergency capital reserve fund. I mean, as you know, that is the town's emergency. And the thing is, I know you guys don't ever have much plans for that money. And actually, for 2015, I know this is called, and it's called the emergency capital reserve fund, but it's been used sometimes for other than capital items.
Right.
Like for instance, turning to the next page, you can see that this fund spent $100,000 during 2015, and what that was funding the rest of the pension,
Right.
the pension shortfall.
Yes.
And you'll see it's kind of broken out there by department based on where the expenditures was, but ultimately that is just that. I mean, do you guys have you have your capital fund, then you have your emergency capital reserve fund? Is there delineation between what money gets spent where, or is the emergency capital reserve fund just for?
Emergencies.
That's just emergencies.
Okay, so this
Yeah,
The capital funded plan.
Yeah,
okay,
yes, please, thank you.
Yeah. So it's just okay. So this building needs a new roof. That's where this money will come into effect.
Right.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So third column back on page 6 is your capital fund, and you can see you got assets and fund balance $1.1 million. So very healthy. Actually, I didn't say this, but your emergency capital reserve fund has $1.7 million. So between the two, you were talking $2.8 million of capital reserves. That's very healthy. So. I'm trying to think. So and then I mean that's the basic. Like I said, without getting into the non-major, the minor funds, which again the minor funds are listed in the back, which I can certainly go over with you if you want. But those are what's called the lesser important funds. I mean those are your big three. So
What's the board's pleasure?
I have a couple questions.
Go ahead.
Okay, we have so much in the emergency capital reserve fund. Do we need a surplus reserve fund? Would not that,
well, except Sandy that I guess what I'm being told is the emergency capital. I mean, it's out there for capital, unless you told me, well, it's not really capital. So that's why. So I guess that's the question I would wonder is, okay.
Should we change the name?
But it's really changing the functionality of it. It is like because really, what is the purpose of it? I mean,
It was for capital, like you said, if the roof fell in.
The roof blew
But
off.
we've used it for other things
But we
than
have.
capital improvements.
You
or-
have
We
such
have.
as
We have.
pension was 400,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean you're absolutely right. If would you need a reserve if you had different intentions for that money, but again, just it's been named the capital, and that's kind of why I brought it up because again you get your capital fund, but then you get your emergency capital money. So it's it's really kind of a board's choice as far as what this money is really used for, or voter choice to say. I mean, you could have the voters out there saying, listen, we got too much money out there. So, I mean, but again, I mean, things happen, so you just never know, so.
Right.
My other question was on the smaller funds.
Yep.
We have a cemetery fund
Well, you several of them.
for the Polly Lee Cemetery, which no longer exists.
The what?
The Polly Lee Cemetery,
Okay.
No longer exists.
it no longer
Okay,
exists.
okay, yep.
It's gone, so
Easy
what do we
acres
do about that? It seems crazy to
To-
keep
to-
carrying
To
that.
keep having that $600.
Uh-huh.
The board, I think the board could just make a motion and to say, due to the fact that this fund doesn't exist, you can transfer the money to either Whitehead, Tyler, South, North. I mean, that is your discretion.
We don't need a town vote for that.
Chris, that's kind of a legal question, and
Yeah.
I hate to keep throwing out the legal card.
I wouldn't wanna do anything without,
Right, so I think definitely the
isn't-
voters, I mean, that'd be the safest bet. And just say, hey, we have this fund, it's $603, it's not needed because and
Not there.
just come up with your suggestion as to where that money would best go. I mean, obviously, from my perspective, I don't think it should be going into the general fund, I think it should be reserved for another,
one of these
Yeah.
other cemeteries.
Isn't
So
the-
maybe we should
isn't the
think
North
about an
Cemetery,
article to ask the
isn't the
people.
North Cemetery the new cemetery, or isn't
No,
there-
we don't have a new one.
Okay.
We have additions.
We have
Okay, okay,
additions,
okay,
but
all
no
right.
new ones.
So it's really, but I agree, if the PA Lee Cemetery doesn't exist, I agree. The best bet is just to close it out and get the approval, and,
Did you get that, Kat? Thank you.
Thank you.
yep.
That's awesome.
Actually, just one last thing on the audit is, we have to disclose, any time that there's any, what we call findings, which are, findings or comments are segregated into three categories. Material weaknesses, the kind of the worst there are, those are the most severe. Significant deficiencies, kind of not as bad as material weakness, but it kind of warrants discussion. And then the third one is just called other recommendations. And again, it's just our opinion on recommendations. What we are required to report to the governing board any material weaknesses and significant deficiencies. And actually, if you turn to the last two pages, on page 46, the town had basically one material weakness and one significant deficiency. And the material weakness I know has already been fixed, in the fact that there were some postings, and again, it's more of an accounting formality thing, that there were some postings to fund balance, which is just, as a rule of thumb, there should never be. We've talked to Cindy, and I know from past practices, so this is taken care of, so I don't expect any problem there. That was the only material weakness, and there's one other significant deficiency, and what this is anytime there is a non-standard journal entry, it's just something where, like for instance, the board says you charge buying water to office supplies, and Cindy goes, you know what, it shouldn't have gone to office supplies, it should have gone to general expenses. And that's a change that she's saying it should be made. She shouldn't make that change without an approval of somebody. So basically, that's what we call those non-standard entries, because she's basically circumventing what you guys did. And I'm not saying that she did do it.
No,
Again,
no.
what I'm saying
I wouldn't
is that
expect she would.
what I'm saying is that anytime there's a non-standard journal entry, like it really needs to be approved by somebody else. And even though it's more than likely it's always right, but it just can't have one person doing it all.
Right.
And it kind of falls back on the same thing where we've all suggested, as far as like reconciling the bank statements. She's probably the most capable, but again, because she's doing all the functions, you always have to have somebody else either doing the bank statements or reviewing the bank statements, which the town is now. They weren't in the past, but I mean, that's just an example of. So those are the two. I don't want to call them major issues that we had with the town, but those are the two reportable ones that have to be included with the audit. There were, I mean, we can go over this if you'd like, there were several other, what we call other recommendations, and again, it's just purely our recommendations on best case scenarios, and they are actually not they do not get included actually with the physical audit. It's the separate letter, which, I don't know if you guys got the management letter. Would you like to go with those, or if you guys,
Not a public document.
Is this a public document or no?
well, it's more for me, no, it's for management, so,
Okay,
okay.
then probably,
Okay.
if we have questions, we can
Abs-
contact you through
absolutely.
Cindy or write
Absolutely.
directly.
And again, I mean, so in this letter, just to summarize, there's three things.
Thank
The material weakness and the significant deficiency is listed in here as well.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's just other recommendations, which again, just our recommendations, and it's just, it's our opinion. You guys can say, no, thank you. I mean, it's just, because it's just not as severe, so.
Okay.
But again, we're just trying to come out with what we think is the best case scenario that could help the town,
Okay,
so.
all right.
So, overall, I think town's moving forward great.
Good.
So,
Yeah.
I don't see any, I don't see any problems that's, other than this, that's worth noting, and gets better every year, so.
Good. Josh, do you have anything more?
No, my head was spinning last night trying to read this thing, and you've cleared up,
Yeah.
you've cleared up a few of those issues,
Okay.
so.
And like I said, I mean, the one thing I try to kind of stress to all boards I meet with, I hate to have you pay for something you don't understand. Now, do I expect you guys to understand the entire government accounting standards board? No, but if you have questions, definitely feel free to call me, because I want you to understand it. If things don't make sense to you,
Yes.
I mean, please call, because like I said, it's not worth it to you if you're not getting it, so.
Sandy?
No, but I'll probably be emailing you.
No, absolutely, because I, like I said, I want you to understand it, so.
Emily?
No questions.
The only one I had, and I believe you've already answered that, is when you say we should combine some of these separate funds with things.
Like the dog, yep.
Right, yeah, and that was my question was, I think some of them need to go out to the townspeople to be able to move them or to combine them. And that was my question, should we have separate articles for
Okay.
them? And you said that we probably.
It's probably safe, like the cemetery is the safest, like the dog fund, again, I know how it's set up years and years and years ago. And I don't know if the voters even set up that
I
fund.
don't know that one.
It's set up by the select board.
It
Right,
probably
so truly, if the select board set it up, the select board can unset it.
Right.
And that's the way a lot of these designations work. I mean, because again, you guys today could designate money for XYZ. Tomorrow, you could undesignate it and put it to
Of course.
ABC. So that's your choice. So like with the dog one, I'd say did the voters need approval for that? No, it's the select board set it up.
Okay.
So
Do you mind if I have the audience ask you a couple questions if they want to? Sure.
Before you
Well,
take somebody.
excuse me, wait a minute.
I nothing for you, I just, I have to leave, my daughter has a basketball game, so
All right.
thank you for coming.
Welcome back.
basketball game is much more fun than listening to auditing.
Great mom right there. What do you call that?
Huh?
Soccer mom.
It's a
Basketball.
Basketball mom. Thanks for coming, Emily. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Sorry.
Hope she wins. Go ahead, Dale.
For the record, I'm Dale Gassett. It sounds to me like there's gonna be some questions coming up from the board members here. We, as the taxpaying public, how do we direct our questions to you guys? Do we funnel it through the select board, or can we,
Yeah.
direct it directly at you once we see the?
Yeah, unfortunately, you have to direct them through, I mean, I understand that you pay taxpayers, but unfortunately, I have to work for the board, so that's why, so everything has to come through the board.
Okay, so is there gonna be a designated person, or do we just email it to the board and then they get it to you?
I'll leave that up to them.
Yeah, I would say email it to us and we'll move it forward for you.
All right. My second question and is this. Again, we are addressing this as the taxpayers, all of us here who are paying, your salary as, Sullivan Powers, there's nothing wrong with that. But if that report has recommendations funded by taxpayers, why are we not allowed to see what the recommendations are?
They are in here.
No, I'm not talking about in there, I'm talking
Oh,
about the
this,
other.
oh, the management letter. I don't know.
Only because
Question.
because it is, because it's a management, this is a management document. Now, is there,
Let me interject and be rude at this point in time. So you're saying that essentially they're proprietary to the management, but not for us and the common folk to understand or to hear about them.
Well, the thing is, from my perspective, they're for management purposes only. So, but it's a select board, it's really the select board's choice if they want to share them. And actually, again, I hate to throw out this legal thing, but it's the select board's choice of whether or not they want to share them. Because, again, because these are management's, recommendations to the management, so. I mean, because it's specifically addressed to the select board and management of the, of the town of Vernon, so. But like I said, do I care, I mean.
Well, we'll discuss that
Okay.
and see if,
Whichever the attorney.
yeah, I don't, yeah,
Okay.
we'll do that.
Is that the only part of your report that is somewhat proprietary at this point in time? I mean, because you've got the bound report and then this
Yeah.
sort of aside letter. Is that the only other part that seems to be
Yep.
Yes, yep.
off limits at this point?
Yep.
Oh, and now I shouldn't say, like I said, not off limits from my perspective, no. Are you, does the town, put the audit report on a website, or do you, I don't even know if you guys.
Well, she
have
has
a
it on
PDF.
the
Okay.
website.
Yep.
We have the town clerk's copy over here, which will be going to the town clerk in the morning. And
I
then
have
they
the
can,
PDF, and if people, I have emails, like the last one I emailed to
Okay.
several people that requested it.
and if you want it PDF, request it of Cindy and she'll get it to you. Okay?
So will it be going out with the town report?
That
Yeah, they'll
Carol,
get
yes.
Yes.
Carol's
Carol's
looked
here.
at the statues and she'll get she's getting the PDF from Cindy, and then she'll determine
She'll
based on,
incorporate it in
yeah,
the town
it'll
report?
be in the town report.
I know a lot of, and I think I said this, a lot of municipalities, just because it's 50-something pages here. I mean, what we do as auditors, we'll actually include a letter to the town saying, hey, we've audited the financial statements of the town of Vernon. Our report is available at the town for public inspection, or again, you guys do have a website, right?
No, we do
No,
not.
you
You do not, okay, you do not, okay.
But
All right.
like I said, I have it on a
Okay.
PDF, and I can
You
email it.
okay, all right, some towns will say, okay, just have it audited on their website, but, so
If they're
it's,
saying by statute it's gonna go out, then that solves the
Yep.
problem.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Anybody else have questions? Come to the microphone, please.
I don't have a question, but what I wanted to say is what this gentleman has said. I've served on high school boards and was an auditor for the town of Newfane, and also on other public boards I've served on, nonprofits. And the management letter does go to the management, so you know the little nitty-gritty things that need to change. Whether you want to share it or not, that's
Well, we will
what you'll
discuss that
decide.
as a board.
And that's anything I've ever been on, and there's, the general audit goes out to the people with just what you said, a cover letter that says things are going fine or things are not going fine, and you can get a copy at such and such, so we don't have to have the expense of having that in there, because there are a lot of people that won't care about it. But there are a lot of people who will really care about it, so as long as it's available to anyone who wants it, and it says it's available and how to get a hold of the person, I would think that that would suffice, because it's a lot of expense.
it is, and that's why so many municipalities,
Yeah.
you don't wanna print 50 pages in the town report.
Right.
And with the electronic age, it works, so.
Thank you, Linda.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Hearing none, thank you very
All
much.
right, you're welcome, again,
Have
just
safe
wanna reiterate.
travels all the way back up there.
Reiterate again, if you have questions, definitely,
Oh, it definitely
let them
will,
call.
we will.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very,
You're
very
welcome. I'll
much.
see you now.
Thank you, Cindy.
You want me to stay
Great
up there
job.
for any?
We are going into, maybe when, yeah, just sit there, that's fine. Carol? No, we're
Would
gonna
you,
take Chris, yes.
would you mind?
Yes, no, I
I'll
don't.
only be a minute.
I wanted to do that anyways, I just totally
Carol said it.
forgot. Yeah, only because, Chris has a ways to travel as well.
This fortunately doesn't have anything to do with money.
Is
has
that
to do-
fortunate?
It is fortunate tonight, for me anyway.
It's for us too.
This, many of you know that we've had, for the library, we've had tables out in the lobby and an ongoing book sale, which, when we pulled it down for the tree, people came in every single day, where are the books, where are the books? So, we've been
You know how I feel
working.
about that.
I know, me too, Chris, me too. But it does bring us in
Oh, yeah.
considerable donations
I
for-
understand
to
that.
sell those books. So, we've been working in conjunction with the town clerk's office and setting up the lobby for the use of the public. And the little seating area over in the corner is great. People sit there almost every day. What we would like to do is on the corner, when you walk in from Governor Hunt, right-hand side, that corner, we'd like to put some bookcases up there and section that corner off so that we can continue to have our book sale. But inside that section, we want to put 2 or 3 cafe tables with a couple of chairs so people can use our Wi-Fi, which we have fiber connection. And people can sit out there with their laptops and use it even when the library's closed, instead of sitting out in their cars, and, you know,
Parking
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
So how would you section it off, with what?
With the bookcases.
With
We'll have,
bookcases?
yeah,
Oh,
we'll
I
have
see.
one
Yep.
bookcase going this way and one going this way.
Yep.
And then the
Makes
library
sense.
door.
Mhm.
And 2 or 3 tables inside. We got a donation of planters from VY. They didn't donate them, but someone else that worked there did. And these great planters, so it'll be really nice and welcoming, a nice area. And so I just wanted to come and pass it by you guys to see what everybody thought, and did anybody have any suggestions?
I move that we tell them to go ahead.
Yeah, I like that idea very much. I really do.
I'm really excited about
It's
it because.
community, this is a community
Yep.
building and it should be used for community.
And that space is so great, and it's just empty all the time,
It is.
you know, and there are people that, since that seating area was set up, there are people that use it all the time. So, we're anxious to do that. I mean, we're gonna put our magazines, we'll put a magazine rack out there, we'll put old magazines out, and of course, we'll keep it organized and picked up and stuff, so I just wanted to let you all know that that's what we wanna do. So-
Okay, what, should we have a motion on that, or is
Do you
it
need a
just
motion?
Made a motion.
I made the motion.
Made a motion to approve the library using a corner of the foyer for their cafe? I don't know what you
Yeah,
wanna
a
call
Wi-Fi
it.
cafe and
Wi-Fi
book sale.
space.
All right. I need a second. Second. I can do that. The motion's been made and seconded to allow the library to go ahead with their internet cafe sort of kind of thing. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I'm gonna recuse myself from the vote.
Okay.
That's not.
Yeah, why, you can't do that, you either
I
vote
think
no
you
or
either,
yes.
you vote
Okay, nay,
nay, okay.
we'll make it easy.
I was just gonna say abstain or no. Ayes have it.
You
No.
can't pass
No.
it.
You
Oh,
can't
can't.
pass it. Three.
Need a
All
quorum
three
of
of you
3.
have to.
Yep. I don't think so. I think when there's, when we have,
Commercial handbook.
yeah, we need it, I got it.
No, we need to have 3.
No.
I think,
we need
yes,
3
I
out of
think we
5.
can.
Yeah, 5.
No, you can't.
Yeah, probably you're right.
Because only 3 can conduct
And if I am, I
business.
want you to say that.
Well,
That's right.
hey, every time I say you're wrong to you, I always go, oh my goodness, Sandy was right. Don't I, Katrina?
But I do like
I
it
always
right.
admit
Well,
that.
can I ask what would
Well-
be the objection to it?
Sure you
We
can.
already have a seating area within the building, and at this point, with a seating area over there and a seating area here, it congests the whole lobby. I don't know if there's any fire hazard within it or anything
It
to.
wouldn't be any more congested than when we had those tables all over
Yeah.
the place.
Well,
It
I
would be a
didn't,
lot
I
less
didn't agree with the
congested
tables being there
as a
either,
matter
so.
of fact, it would be a lot less congested.
What about just having would there be any objection to just having the bookcases? And then just, of course, you've already got a seating area out, I mean, there's already a seating area out there.
Yeah.
They could sit and use the Wi-Fi in that seating area.
I guess my other question is, I just don't know enough about it. If there's outlets available in the lobby, if somebody's sitting there all day on their Wi-Fi and has their computer plugged into the outlet in the lobby, it's gonna drive up electricity costs and things like that. I just don't know.
I doubt that would be significant at all, to plug in a laptop.
Yeah, but it's
to
not
use it.
always taxpayers that utilize the library. There's non-residents that come to the library. They've said it before.
Right, but the non-residents have the right to use the building too, whether there's
Yeah,
seats
I
there or
understand
not, they
that,
can
but
come in
we're
and plug
paying, we
in.
would be paying electricity for non-taxpayers. That's kinda what I'm getting at. I guess I just don't know enough
Why
about
would
it.
it be-
If you guys wanna bring it up to vote again, when you have a full board here, you're more than welcome to do so. I'm not opposed to that.
Opposed to what?
Bringing it back
again?
up
again.
Yeah, that's fine, that's fine. You're fine. You have a right. You're right.
Oh, please, did everybody hear that?
I heard it.
But yeah,
You are correct,
I'm not
Sandra.
opposed to you guys bringing it up again. I don't have enough information to be able to make a decision that makes sense,
Okay,
Thank you.
so.
that sounds great. We'll do that.
Okay. Go home.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, very much. I think it's a good idea, and we'll see what the rest of the board thinks. Now reappraisal. Want to come up?
I don't need to be up there for the appraisal.
No, but capital plan you wrote, do you want to go sit down and come back and sit down and come back? So we can do that. Or do you need to be here in capital?
They asked you to be here.
This one.
I guess you probably should be.
Gonna be long.
You're not gonna be very long, right? I mean,
You guys, I guess.
Can you just give us this and go home? No, I'm kidding.
I thought that, I wouldn't be
That
here
happy.
already.
Better leave it for Emily.
One for Emily, yep.
Yeah, leave it here.
Good deal, then, I'll just go home.
Yeah.
No way. You're saying.
Only one.
This
might be what's already in their
board
packages.
to take a binding vote or
I didn't know
action,
Carol emailed.
there must be
Yeah.
occurrence,
Which is what's in their
of the
package.
majority of the total number of members present. Oh,
Yep.
maybe I am right. For example, if there's a 5-member board, I'll read this out for everybody. In order for a board to take a binding vote or action, there must be the concurrence of a majority of the total number of members. For example, if there is a 5-member board with 4 members present, and the vote is 3-1 to approve a contract, the contract is accepted and valid because 3 of the 5 members of that board concurred. Supposedly, only 3 members of a 5-member board are present, excuse me, and they vote 2-1 to fire an employee. That is not a binding decision because only 2 members of a 5-member board have voted, okay? So we have proved Sandra right, and that makes her very happy. Makes me happy because it makes her happy and we're all happy. Go ahead. And welcome, by the way. Thank you.
All right, we did a memo for, just for, you know, what we're going to cover tonight, but every year we review our sales. We have a sales study that comes down from the state of Vermont. And we go through this every year, and I think we went through this with you folks before, but when we did reappraisal in 2008, we used a factor, the cost tables that were available at that time. When we put everything into the computer, we were coming down about 30% lower, 30% lower than sales. So we added the factor to bring us in line with market. The last couple of years, the sales have fallen off. The market has definitely been affected. And on the spreadsheet that we gave you, this is the last sales from April 1 of last year until the current. And if you look under where it's next to the last column, with that factor, we are about 28% market is lower than assessed value.
Okay.
Okay, if we,
The town of Vernon is.
for the town of Vernon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we would like to do, this would be a one-time, just a one-year adjustment on this factor that would bring us more in line with what the market is saying without doing a full-blown reappraisal, because there's no way we would have time between putting out our RFPs, getting the results back, you know, everything that's involved with that part of it, and then to have a reappraisal for 2017, there just wouldn't be the time. So what we're looking at is to have a reappraisal, a complete reappraisal done by 2018. But this would start us in the, you know, like I said, there's just no way we would have time to do it. Now, another question I have for you folks is.
So how would you do this? You just go by what you already have and then raise up a certain percentage or of the value of people's homes without?
So it's we have a Canvas system which generates values based on costing tables that were put out by Marshall and Swift. As Carol was saying, in 2004, they didn't have the 2006 for our Canvas system, so that's why they
2008.
add.
Oh, I see.
Oh, 2008, sorry. So we didn't have the right tables uploaded. But once you set assessments, you can't universally, you know, typically, once you have the tables implemented, you can't just affect all the assessed values without doing another reappraisal,
Right.
typically. We've been in contact with PV&R, and they said that since our sales have been lower than our assessed value, that we might be able to kind of universally correct it equally, because we're affecting
Okay.
every property. It would be all improved properties, so it wouldn't be vacant land. But those are the ones that are being, I guess, more affected. As long as you, so anyway, it's a possibility, the state said, that we might be able to do this, and there would be a quick way to lower the assessed values. So it'd be kind of like a quick fix until a reappraisal could be done. We do an equalization study every year with the state, and that's how our CLA numbers come about. That's what the 1.11 is our CLA, and then this year is actually
Dropped to 104.
dropped to 104. And then I guess, I don't know if Carol mentioned, but the assessment ratio without factor is the last column, and so that would be, if we took, and so it would reduce it, you know, by a 0.17. I mean, that's just on the sales sample that we use. That was up from June of 2014 to present. Those are the current sales in Vernon of single-family homes.
And one thing we were taught, you know, from the time I started as a lister, was that the request for reappraisal had to go before the town.
Right.
But there's nothing in writing that says that. So we were wondering whether, like with doing this part of it, we're okay with getting you folks approval, providing the state allows us to do it.
Right.
And then, I mean, we can still put an article out there for 2018. We'd want to put it in for this year, though. So
To
people.
put it in this year or next year?
No, I think for this year, because we're gonna be
Who's
starting.
talking? Stop, please.
We would be,
Board's talking.
we would be starting getting our RFPs this year, after town meeting this summer, so that by the middle of the summer, we would be able to come to you with a recommendation for an appraisal company.
Or if the, you know, town decides to do it in-house like they did in 2008. I
Right.
mean, either way, you'd have numbers to present and, guess an outline for the reappraisal.
Right.
But
Okay. All right, so, Kat, you got that? You have to put an article in, go ahead.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you.
so would we be raising money for this reappraisal
No,
this
they
year?
have their money in there.
state gives us, $8.50 a parcel for a grand list maintenance, and I think, and
We
don't
have
quote
a-
me, it was around
68,
50
Yeah.
yeah. I think it
thousand
is.
in the reappraisal fund
Mhm.
to do the reappraisal.
Okay, so it's gonna cover it.
Yes. Well, that's in
It sh-
2018. Yeah, did
It
you say you had enough
Should be
for
enough.
that?
It should be enough.
Yeah.
I'm
should.
going, we're doing a reappraisal in Guilford, and those numbers, even with the commercial addition that Vernon has, it would be enough. That's all I can say.
Even-
Based on the RFPs that I received from similar companies that would give you RFPs in Vernon.
Even if we put the article in for this year, for 2000, to have it for 2018, but then next year, before we put articles out, you decide that, oh, well, wait a minute, we're gonna need more money. Do we have time enough to put that article in? And it's okay to put an article in for that time? At that time? Yeah, okay.
When we received the RFPs and then had a follow-up meeting with the select board,
Mhm.
based on our recommendation, at that point, you could see,
Yeah, okay,
more or less what our projections would be.
okay. All right.
The other step in this process is we would, and I'm gonna have to talk to the district advisor, but I think if we went with the general maintenance, we would have to allow grievances for everybody, because you'd be sending out a change of appraisal. So, that's another.
But this change of appraisal is going to actually lower their value, correct?
The goal would be to bring it more in line with fair
Right.
market. That being said, since you can't,
Oh, you
we
wouldn't
haven't been
know.
into each
Yeah.
the advantage of doing a complete reappraisal is that you go into every property and you see the current level of improvements that have been done, and so you're treating everyone more or less real time.
Right.
What this would be doing is saying, well, we looked at your house in 2006, 2007,
And we're gonna go
and
by
we're
that.
just going to reduce everyone down 30%. Without permitting in process, some people have improved their property tremendously, and some have actually depreciated because of
Right.
lack of maintenance.
But
So
in
you're not being able to.
2018, then it's gonna be a door-to-door thing, and it'll be a true
Right.
reappraisal, okay.
So, I mean, the idea would be that, and as, the assessments would go down, but it's usually
Right.
the tax rate
Yeah,
goes
yeah.
up.
Right.
But,
It doesn't benefit anybody really
Right.
to be, yeah.
but your number would be closer reflected what's
Right.
happening in the market, and that's what we're trying to do.
So, any questions?
No.
Sandy?
The land is, so if I'm hearing you right, they're supposed to be on their homes, the buildings, but not on the land.
That's correct.
Okay. Why?
It's because the factor was used only on the dwelling.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So it wouldn't be land, outbuildings,
Okay, just on the dwelling.
just on the dwelling.
Okay. Do you mind if I take questions? Are you ready for that? Patty, come on up. We have to have you on the microphone. Gets you on tape. Besides that, we wanna see, the camera wants to see.
Changing the assessment does not affect what people will pay on the municipal side,
Right.
because the municipal budget needs to be raised, that's the money that needs to be raised. The big effect is on the school side.
Right.
Because right now, if our houses are over assessed by 30%, we're spending 30% more in a statewide tax than what the value of our houses really are. So that's the
Yep.
big benefit to the taxpayer. I don't want anybody to think the taxpayer's not gonna benefit by doing this.
Right, thank you very much.
But they do, when they equalize, they do bring that back to 100%.
That's the intent of the CLA,
The
but
intent.
that's all we can say. Like, I mean, there isn't a adjustment that is trying to allocate for that, but that's just kind of our recommendation, given our options.
Now, do you need a vote from us, or?
I thought we were here under the premise just to give you an update of
That's
our,
exactly
what
right.
we're recommending
I
that
thought
we
too.
do.
Yep, because we don't really need to give you approval of that,
No,
right?
I-
You have to get your permission or whatever your thing is through the state, correct?
I mean, if the select board, I think, said, oh, hey, we don't wanna do this, that would be
Yeah, why would we?
something,
Right.
where you say, hey, we don't wanna even look into, allowing everyone to, cause you will have grievances, so there might be, and the listers would be able to draw from the reappraisal fund in this situation, cause it is maintenance of the grand list. So there could potentially be some more hours put in to handle grievances, because you're doing it, essentially, everyone could grieve if they want. I mean, I'm not saying they will, you just have, if you're affecting everybody's value, there's more chance that people are gonna say, hey, my value is wrong, and this might be the reason.
Well, we can figure that out when the time comes, if it does.
Just trying to say everything that might happen.
Right. All right, well, nothing else? Anybody from the audience have a question? Wow. Thank you very, very much. And we'll get you an article for that.
She wrote up one in
appraisal?
here, is that,
Yes, what's that?
you wrote one, an example to see if the
Yes.
town will authorize a townwide reappraisal to be commenced in 2016 and completed prior to April 1, 2018.
Yeah.
Is that what you're suggesting, okay?
So, I guess the only question I would have, and I don't know, if we're pursuing RFPs for reappraisal, I don't know what the like, do we have to get approval from the select board to do that? That would be- To try to get bids for
Oh.
reappraisal,
I don't think so. I think
You don't
we
need to
can
get
just-
our
yeah.
approval to go get the
estimates.
Right.
estimates, right?
Yeah.
You just have to do it and then bring them to us and then we'll.
Okay.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
Thank you very, very much. Have a great night. Capital plan?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, please. You get it, Josh, right here. You want to see them? Anybody want? In case we need to.
Yeah, I asked Cindy to stay in case we needed her.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, watch out for them. They're slippery. Get out of your hands. Good night. Thank you again.
While you're looking that over, I would like to say that our committee all worked very well together, and that you met Tom the last time, and we have Nancy, we have Rita and Joyce also, who aren't here tonight, but they also were part of the committee. And Nancy did the lion's share of all of the paperwork and re-entered everything in a spreadsheet that we can use, because the only one that I had, as I said last time, was the one that I had from years ago from Sheldon, so. And
Well,
I
we had
wasn't- It's the
town
only one I
report
had,
ones.
it's
Oh.
the only one I had in for a grid to use, so Nancy made a new grid, and this is the report that I worked. Also wanna thank Cindy, because I was off on the wrong track and I brought everything to her, and she spent a lot of time with me, showing me what to do to get
She's
to
good
these
like that.
figures, yes. So, what we did different this year was to actually label the departments so people see the equipment and the needs in the different departments. But it has the need year as it did before, the balance, what was appropriated last year, what we're wanting to appropriate this year, and then the 5 years out. Now, there are some columns that were on the old one that are missing for the extension because we don't have any more paper. We ran out of room. So I think, for instance, if you look at the first one that says town van, the need year is 22, 23. We only had room to go out as far as 21, 22, which is 5 years out.
Understandable, yeah.
So it says projected cost is 100,000, but if you add up these 1250s, they only come to 87, 5. But the next 1250 would bring it to the 100. And
We'd
so
have to have a town report that
we'd
does
have to
that.
have one, yes, exactly, so we.
This is fine, I'm sure people
That-
will understand that.
I just wanna make sure that you're happy with, the board is happy with the way the format is in there.
I'm fine with it, I think it looks great.
Did anybody have, do you want to go over line by line, or, we met with each of the department heads, all of us, as I said last time, we all met with them. In our meetings, we took notes and we have what the people asked for, and we put that in here.
What's
Some
the
of the
board's,
things-
just a minute, what's the board's pleasure? Do you wanna ask questions and then, or do you wanna go have her start at the
wanna
beginning
do-
and then ask questions as she's going through? Which is it?
I just ask questions, because it's pretty clear. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
can
think it's
understand it, it's
okay.
very clear.
I'll
Is
just-
it, is it,
You'll just
we're
chime
trying
in
to
there?
make it as
Yeah.
understandable
And
as
I just
possible.
wanna
I
make
wouldn't
a,
bite, you could've
that's
moved it over
fine.
here.
I'll just make a general observation that as I'm looking down through these need years, and obviously they can be moved,
Right.
there
Right.
is a ton in 2017, 2018, to the tune of probably 10, 15 line items out of the 30 that are here, that we're gonna have to seriously consider and probably move around based on the recommendations of our department heads and.
Well, the thing is, Josh, when it says the need year, and correct me if I'm wrong, Linda, if I'm overstepping here, but when it says it's the need year, it has, the money has been being collected all these years, and now the money's there, so
Yeah.
we don't have to go out and raise more money to
Well, you
to
raised
get
in
to.
17, 18, right?
Right, it's already
Yeah.
been raised prior
Okay.
to that, yep. Am I correct?
Well, that's why we're going out the different years, so you
Well, I
can
know,
see
but
where the
he's
money
saying
is.
that the,
That's why there's money in these accounts
Right,
already to
yes.
start with.
that's what I
And
said.
then the money that was appropriated last year is
And the years
added to
before and
that.
the years before, it's
Yeah,
all been the
that's the
same.
first column, balance 630 is what was appropriated in prior years. So
So
for
see the money
instance,
there?
Yeah.
You know, like your pickup
if you
truck.
go your pickup truck,
What
see
I'm
it-
saying is that the final payment, I guess you would say, is
Right.
gonna be this budget year
Yes.
upcoming
Yes.
Right.
for those.
So if you look at the dump truck diesel, and you go across, and you see that he had 157,702. We added 14,649, and to get to 2017-18, we would have this year to add 16,324, and next year 16,325, which would bring him to the 205,000.
Yeah.
So
And
he
I
would
guess
be
that's
there.
kinda where I'm getting at is, because it's this upcoming budget year, if you look at the, the following years, obviously a lot of those line items go away because they've been replaced.
Right.
Is there, things within this plan that we can push into 18, 19 to help
Hope-
offset for this year? That's what I'm
If we
saying.
don't feel that it has, it's an actual need, we
Right.
can push it
And
out.
that's the thing
till
with the
whenever.
capital plan.
Right.
This is just a plan.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we'll just use the pickup truck.
Yep.
That was purchased in 1998. We're putting down a need year of 2017-18. We have $35,000 already. So to have the $48,000 it would take to replace it now, we are looking to appropriate in the next 2 years, $6,500 each year.
Yeah.
Now, that will not be replaced until the maintenance costs to keep it outweigh it, just like if you had a car at home,
Right.
you would keep fixing it, and then finally you'd say, I'm dumping too much money in here,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get a new one, and that's why we put the wording in the capital plan
Yeah, it states that if it hasn't
Yeah.
reached the end of its.
End of useful life.
Yeah, which that all makes sense to me, but
Yeah,
correct
so-
me if I'm wrong, that all these payments are raised by taxes
Taxpayers.
Yes, they
every
are.
single year.
Yes.
So if we
This one
have,
right here, you're right, this one right here.
I see what
will
you're
be-
getting at.
yeah, you
I
see what I'm
what
getting
you're
at,
saying.
where you
Right.
can take, $30,000-$40,000 and maybe spread it over the next few years instead of hitting it all this year.
And
If-
some of these things have already been pushed out. They were, when we went to visit them, they were supposed to be money spent this
Sure.
coming year.
Yep.
And they pushed them back a year, pushed them
Yeah,
back
I
2
see like our
years.
computers and servers and stuff.
Right.
We obviously didn't replace this year. It's-
Right, and the same thing like down for the tennis courts. They're 15 years old, and we're thinking they'll need to be replaced in, he said 2 or 3 years. So we pushed it back 3 years. And we budgeted for 3 years rather than 2 years.
Mhm.
So I mean, this is all at your discretion.
Yep.
But this is telling you where, sitting down with the department heads, this is where they see that they need to be. Now, whether that is where you want to talk with them and say, do you really need to have this, or can we move this out?
Mhm.
That's what you would do after looking at this, but we did ask them those questions.
Okay.
Also, we wanted to put on here some things that we've got nothing in. And you'll notice there's no need here and there's no money, because we don't want them to get forgotten.
Right.
We
Sure.
we want people to realize, because the boards change, the finance committees change, and things can get lost. So we wanted
Absolutely.
to list them on there. Like cemeteries, repairs and maintenance. We've never had a fund for that. But we had to come up with $66,000 a couple years ago. We're doing 10 or 12 this year. Maybe in light of what you're saying, maybe we should start budgeting $3,000 a year, or whatever the cemetery committee thinks is reasonable to put in this, instead of having to come up with $10,000, $12,000. You know, those are things that you guys will have to sit, but we wanted to raise the question whether you think that that's something that you wanna look into. But at least be aware that we do have expenses, because it's an expense that the town has to maintain the cemeteries.
Sure.
The reason why the cemetery went to the people in a separate article and not here was because we wanted to know also if the question put forth to them was, do you want us to restore these monuments?
Right,
So-
and don't we
and
have
that's
a
why.
legal responsibility to maintain the cemeteries? I think so.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, we do.
So, it's not so much do you want to,
Yeah, we don't have
we
yeah,
have to.
and we also have to buy,
Yeah, so if we have to do those things,
Yeah.
maybe the select board wants to talk about putting a line item in on the capital plan and putting so much money in every year to have the money there instead of having to.
yeah, we'd have to talk with the
come up-
cemetery committee to
Yes,
see
exactly.
what their
Right,
big
and that's why
projects
we
are
have
planned.
nothing in there, we just have it
Yeah.
there with question
Yep.
mark for you to think about.
Okay, I think that's
Same
great.
thing like on the town office, we have, I've already talked with Kevin,
Mhm.
and he got a quote for the school roof and the outside maintenance he's planning on doing with the excess funds that he has, if he doesn't need to hire somebody for the rest of the year.
Mhm.
Isn't that right, Kevin? So he's gonna do that, and so we have nothing in there, but we wanted to put that there so people realize that maybe there's not $10,000 worth of stuff at once, but it's, you're gonna have an expense of a little less than
Yes.
10,000 to do the roof.
Mhm.
And Kevin got a quote on that, and then, but if something happened and Kevin's person needed to be hired, that money wouldn't be there to do the outside maintenance. And that's the windows and doors, sills that are wooden, and the cement that's coming up the stairs that the posts have rusted
Right.
and so forth, to repair that part. And so this is already being planned for. Now, Kevin, you don't have that in your budget this year, but you're gonna put the roof in next year?
I've got, well, depending on what the board lets me carry over.
Right.
And what I can work
What we
with,
have to figure
within the
Right.
budget.
Let you carry
Can be
annual.
done either the end of the, well, springtime this year or next year.
Next year.
Or spring, summer of next year.
Right, okay. So, but those are things that we need to be looking at. Same thing, this records restoration, now my understanding in talking with Nancy is you folks are thinking of using that money to build the storage room.
Yes.
Okay, so we should change that from records restoration to records storage room, then if that's
Absolutely.
up to you.
Yep.
So should we do that?
Yes, because you're not doing the records, well, actually,
Because
you're
the
still
records-
using it for, records restoration as well, am I correct?
No,
No,
you
you're not.
have your own records restoration fund.
All right, well, then
And
I would
so
say yes.
we would change the wording to records storage room, but I didn't want to change it without making sure that's what you were gonna use the money for.
Can we change that name, or do we have to ask the people? We have to ask the people, I
Because
think.
of the restoration thing they've
Yes,
changed.
we just ask them,
Okay,
the
to
people,
change
to
that.
change the wording
Okay.
to storage room.
All right,
Yeah, because I didn't think we could do it ourselves,
okay.
per se.
And like the swimming pool, we just redid that a couple years ago, but that was a major expense, so we are gonna review that next year to see if we should need to set up for that. Same thing is, we had quite a bit of building repairs and maintenance to the bathrooms and roofs and so forth down there. There's 4 different structures that have to be maintained. So, in talking with Seth, that wasn't something that he saw that needed to happen, but it's on here because we don't want to not review it each year and then be surprised. Also, you folks were going to set a date for us to have a public meeting to discuss this capital plan. And I know time is running short, so I wondered if we could set that date tonight.
Do you have a suggested date?
We don't know what you have the bigger schedule, so whatever your schedule is, we'll.
Wait a minute, I think that we
Do we
were
have-
going to, have it here and have it in the big room.
Right, we
At
talked
our
about
next
that.
meeting, I think.
Okay.
I hadn't asked the board yet, so,
Okay.
this was my thought, Sandy, Josh, cause I had spoke to them, the other day, that maybe we could have it, they could have a forum here, prior to our meeting, so if, like, say, 5:30, 6 o'clock, they have their forum kind of thing, right? Is that what we were talking about? I think so. And,
It's your story, I don't.
yeah. But before, the select board's meeting,
Just a reminder, your next meeting, your next scheduled meeting would be on Martin Luther King Day.
yeah, we probably ought to put that on a Tuesday, you know,
Yeah, I think we
instead of
already
Monday.
moved it, didn't we?
No,
No, we hadn't moved it. So please move that to the 18th, 19th. I don't know, we don't have a new one. Oh, we do.
yeah.
Thank you, Trent.
The fiber optics
Is the
forum has
19th.
been, we requested the 19th at the school. I don't know if we've got it yet, I have to check. So there might be competition with that.
That's at 6:30, so.
Huh? What'd you say, Sandy?
That's scheduled at 6:30 from what I had for the fiber optic, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one, 5:30.
Couldn't you guys meet at the school at 5:30? You have a much better turnout.
Sure. That wouldn't be a problem, as long as we have a place that we can, it's advertised and a place that we can present it.
I would
So people can
piggyback
come to
them. Or actually, you'd be before them.
Mhm. Is that all right with you or not all right with you? If
Yeah,
you're allowed, if you're allowed to have the
I
meeting.
need a quorum, don't I? I guess I will have to check with the other members. I don't know where Emily is, but Munson and David and Emily. And then, How soon do you need to know this? Because I can find out from Ian Spencer
Well,
tomorrow
they
morning.
don't have time to set up, a big one. If you've got the school, I was trying to suggest to them to have it with hours, just before
Right,
hours,
and have
so
it
that
out in the big room.
you wouldn't have it down there and cause them to have to set up a big thing. But, I mean, if they
Josh,
can hop
Do
on.
you know what the schedule is for the rec department? Because do you have
I
anything on Tuesdays there?
Do not
you know?
off the top of my head, no.
Chris,
I'll have to check tomorrow and let you know.
if fiber optics is meeting at 6:30, quite frankly, I'd rather be there than here on Tuesday, so maybe we should.
I know, that's, we're
So maybe
trying to
we should
figure
put
out a
it
time
off
for
to
the
the
select board
25th.
to meet.
Just move it to the following Monday.
Do you wanna do that? To the
I
following
don't mind
Monday?
meeting Martin Luther King Day, but,
I'm not meeting on Martin
But-
Luther King
but
Day,
we
I
could-
don't know that.
but I'm fine
Do
at
you mind if it's on
25th.
the 25th?
Is that January?
Yes.
Should be fine.
It's the following Monday.
Yeah, it should be fine.
Okay, all right, following Monday, okay? Kat?
So then, we could do
So
before.
we, poor thing, you wanna go home, don't you?
No, I'm just renaming everything.
Because she has to, first of all, she has to find out.
I will let
what
you know
they're-
tomorrow or Wednesday on the fiber optic.
All right,
So,
if not, then
then
why,
we'll be at your select board.
then you
meeting.
if they don't want that,
They don't want us, we'll be with you, whether you want us or not.
that's fine, we'll take care. It has nothing to do with
I
that,
don't
we
think it's a
know.
problem. I just think the date, we gotta clarify the date.
Right.
But then we could have it out there in the big room, and then when you're done explaining it, we'll have our select board meeting on the 25th.
The school's doing their budget hearing on the 25th.
Will you stop?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Wait a minute.
If you wanna go to the school's budget meeting, that's scheduled for the 25th.
Well, maybe the public might want to.
They might like to. I think the school would like to have them there.
Yeah.
So just go back to the 18th.
I'm not going to have it on the Martin Luther King Day. We could have it on Wednesday, can we? You can't come? Kat, you're not looking very well. You're not very happy.
No, I'm just trying to figure out, I've renamed the file several times. I'll rename
Well,
it
keep
again.
it up, because
Pick
we're
a date.
gonna make you change it again.
Pick a date and
What do
stick
you
with
think,
it.
Josh?
Wednesdays are kind of up in the air for me, but if I can make it work, I'll make it work. I'm not opposed to Martin Luther King Day, but
Are you?
I'm not either.
I'm fine on the 20th. I'm not opposed to it either.
So
Either
you're
way's fine.
okay for the 18th?
Yep.
On Martin Luther King's Day?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's fine with me.
all right.
I went to work on Martin Luther King's Day.
Oh, we
never
always
got
did
off.
too, so.
We got Easter Sunday
Yeah.
off.
But nowadays, I think they don't have to work. But okay, back to the 18th, Katrina, do you have that one?
I have that agenda already started.
Go- You know that little curly Q there? Keep backing up to it. All right, so the 18th, is that all right with you guys? Nancy,
The 18th or with them on the 19th, is that all right?
either way, yes. Okay? All right, onward we go.
Can I ask them some questions yet?
Please.
Go ahead.
Are you done, Linda?
Well, I just wanted to go down and like where it has the rescue, where we replaced it, in 2015, just to remind people it was there. And the engine was replaced in 2015. However, that was a lot of money. And so
Yes.
do we wanna start saving for another one? You know, that type of thing. And so we haven't done that this year, but that's something that we
coming.
need to look at for next year. Same thing for the rescue vehicle, the rotary mower, and those that have the years in there. So it shows where that we replace them, but we may wanna start budgeting again because there are things that will need replacing. Go ahead, if anybody has any
Okay.
questions.
Yes, Sandy does.
Town van, should that not be bus?
Where are you?
Number one, town van,
Town van, yeah.
should it not be bus?
Town bus, town
it's a
van.
bus.
Now we're
Yeah.
gonna get into
I
that.
know, that's why I want it cleared.
I just went with the wording that was there before.
Yeah.
Do you want it,
As long as it
do
doesn't
we have to
say senior.
change it to town? Do we?
It doesn't matter to me, it's just come up before, so rather
Yeah.
than having it come up
Does it
again.
matter? I don't know.
So
I
do
don't
we have
think it
to,
matters.
if we
I
have
think
to
it was
ask people to-
seniors
It
bus or
used to be
seniors
seniors
van,
bus
that was
or
the
seniors
question.
van, now
But
it's
it's
town
town
van,
van.
so
Right.
it's
I
town's
think it's fine.
thing.
What do we
You're
put?
right in.
We know what it is.
We know what it is, I
Vehicle?
just didn't want
No,
to,
town
that,
van.
just one thing.
Town van's
Is
fine.
that all right?
Yes, leave it.
Okay.
Is this a new capital plan policy, or is this the one that's in the book?
That's
I
the
have-
one
This is one
that's in
that's
the
in the book.
I can read
Yeah,
it
we
easily.
went down, we just.
Yeah, I like this one too.
Nancy, this is some of the things that Nancy's done out of the way of doing. She wanted to make it larger for people.
Larger,
Thank you.
absolutely, I really like it.
Because the writing was
Really
very
is.
kind
This
what
is
she
too
did it
small,
from.
but you,
Right.
there's not much you can do about
No.
that.
And,
But
uh,
this is perfect, I
Right,
can read it
but
perfect.
she redid the whole thing and, because it was even smaller than this, the original writing.
Yeah.
This can
So-
be bigger font if you want more pages.
No, we don't, this is
Right.
fine. I mean, I don't know how, you know, it's gonna look in the town report. You know, it might be.
Won't look any
it'd be a
different than
little
it has in the past.
Yeah, so I think it'll be
Right.
fine.
All the question marks, will they be in this, in the town report?
No, the question marks are there for you, for
Right.
us to discuss
Okay.
things with you.
Now, the records restoration, record storage room, do we really need to ask to have that changed, since it looks like you have all the money you need?
Yeah, because it was records restoration was what it was called, but since it was going to be used for the record storage room, I thought we would change it to record storage room just so people realized what their money was used for.
Okay.
And
So
then we
what's in
could
it
explain
before?
to them that there's a separate records restoration fund.
The only thing with that is
But
that
if we have to ask the people to change the name.
the only thing is that is once the records storage is built, then we're gonna have to revert back to the record restoration.
No,
No,
because
it'll
it's
be
a
the end of the fund, I mean, end of that.
It'll be the
Well, I
end of
mean,
that line
as far
item.
as,
No, you have your own fund in, you
Funded by
have your
the-
own records
okay, so we need, so that fund shouldn't even really be there anyway, we're just lucky it's there to utilize for the
That's
storage.
exactly
Kind
right.
of things the guy was
Okay.
talking about.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep,
perfect.
one of those.
That makes sense.
So
Yes.
that'll be gone. But, let's see, where are, yeah, the North School and the maintenance, those were things that I wanted to let you know that we, although there's nothing there, we have talked with Kevin about it and we're aware that that needs to be done and he's aware it needs to be done.
Do you wanna put any money in for those items or what?
Kevin feels he has it in his budget.
Also,
Well-
if they're under $10,000,
They can't be
Right,
in
we
here.
can't
doesn't
put it
fit
in
into
here
the capital
anyway,
plan.
but if we put the total in
You can't put
We
more than
can't.
one item.
on there,
You
Right.
can't put a bunch of different
Right.
projects together and make up
Right.
10,000.
that's what I thought,
So if it comes in on less than 10,000, it can't be in the
in
capital.
there anyway.
Neither of those projects should exceed $10,000.
No.
What we were looking at is fixing the front stairs, and all of the wood trim on this building needs attention. We can walk around and look at it, it's all, some of it's deteriorating, and if we don't give it attention, pretty soon, we're gonna be paying money to replace things.
So we
It's
think
pretty
that will exceed $10,000?
Well, you got the cupola up on top of the roof, you got the louvers on the ends of the building. I mean,
Well-
walk around and look at it and see what you think. You're in building.
Yeah, well, Kevin will report it to us, I hope, soon
He's
enough, I mean,
he's
and
gonna
then
get
we'll,
quotes, right?
yeah. He's
Right.
gonna get quotes and stuff.
So I mean, if you wanna put anything in here in anticipation of doing that, we will.
When are we gonna have quotes back, do you think, Kevin?
well, the roof, the North School roof, that quote came in under
He already
10,000.
had that.
Okay,
So,
Yeah.
and what about the,
As far as the individual painting jobs, I never got a quote on that.
okay.
But
But
we
those
can't-
could be,
that's the point
those
of-
could be broken up, you know, good, better, best, you know, get the stuff done that has to get done right now. And, you know, try to,
Yeah, the point is, though, we couldn't like put in painting of this and trimming of that and this and that and put it all in there to come up with $10,000, that's,
But,
right?
yep, so those two will come off of here.
the steps wouldn't be 10,000? I don't know how much
Yeah,
cement
we
is.
priced the stairs and they'd be about $5,000 or $6,000.
Oh, okay, so-
And to give you an example, the museum, we put a line item in to fix the museum for, and it was a whole bunch of things of repairs and maintenance on the museum. I don't think,
That wasn't in the capital fund.
That wasn't the capital
no,
fund.
but I'm just giving you an example of a line item. It's like, we didn't just say, paint trim, we
But-
did like a
No.
whole bunch of various.
But you can't do that in the capital fund. The
you
capital
can't
fund
do that.
has.
This
But
is
the
the
general
capital.
fund for the select board
right.
can
Well,
do it.
that's in our budget, and
Right.
that's something we
That's
need to
in
talk
your
with the.
budget.
So are you saying you're gonna put these things in the regular budget?
That's what we have to do.
That's what we
Right.
would have
I think
to
we're
do,
gonna
yes.
have to
But
under
we have
him.
to, we
Right,
have
they
to
would
get
have
with
to
the
put this in their
maintenance.
select board's budget.
Yeah, that's up to him, to bring it to us to get that done. Absolutely, we'll put it in the general fund.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, that's all I have, thank you.
And,
Josh?
down at the bottom,
No.
you'll see where.
I'm gonna take one question from the audience, Linda.
Okay.
Hold on, I don't think she
wanted
was
to
finished.
finish
Chris,
She wasn't finished?
she wasn't
Oh,
finished.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry, Janet.
Had interest in gains is there. The return funds is there to reduce it for, which was the sale of the police cars and rescue truck and the excess mower funds. And so that leaves the total to be appropriated.
Very good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Very good. Very, very good job.
You have a question?
Are you done now?
Yes.
I don't wanna interrupt you again, I'm so sorry, I really am.
No, don't worry, I don't care.
Okay, Janet, come.
I'm sorry, I just have
No,
a
that's
question.
okay.
This
Go ahead
capital
and
plan
ask.
has confounded me for a long time, that and articles. The capital plan, it has to be one item?
No.
Or-
Not
Oh, it doesn't?
necessarily.
Okay, okay.
But it has to be all the same item.
So like the library one for 14,000, that's okay, cause it's all renovations?
They're going to, what
No,
they
it's
wanna
the
do
children's
is.
area.
Children's area.
But it says-
Children's area.
And remodel adult area?
Right.
Yes.
So that's considered all?
Well, that's the point I'm trying to make, is
Yeah,
that I
right.
don't think a maintenance issue or a renovation issue, when you say it's not one thing, I don't think that, it's like computers, we have 8 computers on here.
Well, I told you that before, but, let's see what the plan says.
Can I sit down now that?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Janet. Sorry.
Can I say something?
Yes, please do so.
I think if it said building renovation,
Right.
that would be different than
You
building
mean,
maintenance.
Yes.
okay, well, it's kind of the same word.
So
No.
what are we doing?
Maintenance is
Yeah,
little things, renovations, we've got to do this project.
That's a
Depends on how
project.
big the project.
Yeah.
so for the library.
I don't know, I don't think you can do that. I truly do not think you can do that. There's something somewhere that it's written that you cannot. I may be wrong, I mean, shoot me if I am, but, no,
we're
please
not
don't.
shooting you.
No, please don't. No, it is not.
I got a few more years left. But I don't think you can take a bunch of items and group them together and stick it on a capital plan. You can't do that to make 10,000. I think it has to be one item that is, and I had said that with the computers. I was kind of concerned that the computers we could put the computers on there because it's not one computer, it's 10 computers at $1,000 apiece.
And I think that's what
Fire
Janet's question was you have renovations, move children's area and remodel adult area
Yeah.
for the library.
Because that was also my concern when you were talking before about the cemetery committee. If we put money in the capital plan for the cemetery, if we say we want to repair monuments and purchase cornerstones, is that
That's why we did it
a
as an
project or
article
is
last
that?
time.
No, that's 2 projects.
So then,
Right.
if they're under $10,000,
They wouldn't go
that's I think, my sense was that $66,000 was a special item.
That's exactly that's what I said.
So
We had went to
that's
the
what I'm asking,
townspeople
you
for
know.
That
that.
is an article.
You have to figure out how
not
you,
as-
Yeah, it
we're
was
gonna
a
put
separate
something in the
article.
capital plan for
Right.
cemeteries, which I don't think is a bad idea at all, because you're accruing money for it, but how do you do it so that
Right,
it
and that's
conforms
why
to
I
the
think that
capital
you would
plan?
have to have the townspeople change the guidelines before you could do something like that, I think. If you wanna have an article to ask the people to change it, so doesn't mean one item
Right, so it
at
could be an
10,000,
aggregate of,
then
you
it's
know,
a
an
different
area
story.
or whatever,
Right,
yeah.
I would have to read it again, I'm not,
That's what Mary
I'm
wrote.
like all over the place here with my mind.
Can we get back to you on
I
whether we
think-
wanna do that or not?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. and you should-
Because,
Okay,
as much money, when I was talking with Sally and Cindy, as much money as we can plan for in advance is that much less, it's more having your budget stay like this rather than up and down, up and
Okay,
down.
but we've, if it was to be a major project where it had,
Right.
like the foyer,
Right.
All right, that was not in a capital plan, it was an article.
Right.
That would be like if what has to do with this building, and if it's just minor projects of painting and window window
would
replacing's
be in
different,
your-
is a major expense, but,
Capital plan is for major expenses
Major
that you,
expenses.
That's what I'm
you need
saying.
to spread it out over a period of time to raise the money. It's
Right.
not for little things
that's
here and
exactly
there.
what I'm saying, it's not for paintings and, you know, replacing,
Right.
trim and stuff like that, it isn't for that, I don't think
Right.
it is.
Now, the library renovations, what they wanna do is they want to, take, as you walk in, there's the children's area. They wanna take that children's area and move it to the back. Because as adults walk in and people are working with children, all the kids look and all the adults go, oh, you little cutie. And so it's a big disruption. And then for the adults, with the kids laughing and talking and making noise here, that they're trying to do a project or whatever, so they wanna separate it, put the children in the back, where they'll be,
Yeah, I get it.
and they'll have racks that they can use and tables that they can use. And then in the front, would be the adult library section.
Oh, okay, so
And
that's gonna cost 10,000, that's a major project.
13,000.
They came in and talked to us about
Right.
that
Yes,
by
I-
utilizing
Right.
their remainder of their,
Actually,
yeah,
it
their
is.
surplus
That's what I thought
to
they were.
do
Yes.
this
So they
project.
turn their surplus back in,
Yes,
so the surplus doesn't exist.
that's right, because it
It's already
wasn't,
been
it
asked
wasn't
until-
brought to
Yeah,
the treasurer in time to
exactly.
utilize that surplus for the
So their
project.
surplus isn't there, which is why we're asking for it in 2 years.
But the thing
Here.
is that,
They'd have to raise
what,
by articles.
okay, please, one speak at a time, I have a hard time concentrating. But with this, I don't know, is that a major project to move a room, part of a room to the other side of the room and then move this, why isn't that
Well, you
just
have to-
done?
Because you have to hire people to come in and do it, and you have to build new shelves and take the shelves apart and move the shelves, so that means hiring people to come in and do that. And purchases that you're gonna need to do new carpeting and that type of stuff. She
See,
had
I
a
don't-
whole,
I know she did, but the
I
thing
have
is
that
that
here
it's,
somewhere. Hold on, and
I
I'll
don't
find
think you
it.
can do that in the capital plan, I'm telling you. Because that is
So do
it's
you
not
wanna
a
do it as
major
an
thing
article
like,
and ask for the
I think they have
$14,000
to.
as an article?
I think they have to.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, I do, I'm sorry, and I
No,
don't
that's all
wanna
right.
be mean to any department or anything like that, but facts are facts, and I think that's what you have to do. I do, I really do. Only because you're gonna replace carpet, you're gonna build shelves, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, and it's all a bunch of stuff grouped into one, and I think you cannot do that on the capital plan.
Yeah, they had submitted a total budget here of 13,270.
Yes, I have that.
Right.
But yes, I know what they were gonna do, but I wasn't thinking, when I saw it here, I wasn't thinking that's what that was, and
That's
then
what
when
it
you,
is, yeah.
Josh
So
was
you'll,
saying, I'm like,
so
oh, wait a
we'll
minute,
take
that's
this
not.
off of here
Yes.
and you'll
have
put
to.
it in as an article.
Yes. Katrina, do you have that?
And you'll put it in for the 14,000?
We'll put it in for what it needs, yes.
Well,
You were gonna do
whatever
it for
she-
2 years?
We were gonna, well, because that's what the capital plan says, is if it's over 10,000, you have to put it in for 2 years.
Okay, but we would ask for the
But you
full.
can ask for the 14.
In the
Yeah.
article, that's what
In
you
an
would
article.
need to do.
Yeah.
Yep,
Right.
we have to, for that project, yes.
Okay, so, and I'll tell Chris that you're gonna do that then.
Yeah, and she can call me, or she can call the
Because
treasurer,
we're
whatever,
gonna
you don't wanna
solidify
answer those
articles
questions,
tomorrow
right?
night, Chris.
Excuse me?
We're gonna solidify articles tomorrow night.
Yes, and.
Now, what about the computers and servers then, which would be $20,000 to replace the computers and to replace the server?
See, I thought it was a great idea,
And
you know.
if they all need replacing at once, they're all computers, although they're, how
But
many ever
there's-
different.
I
they're-
don't think you can. I thought that, and I remember I had said that several times,
But
but
you've got the SCBA air packs and SCBA bottles, which are all separate units, and we're,
Oh, yeah.
and we're purchasing those as a.
Well, it's funny.
Computers are like,
They're a
that's a
like
like
thing.
item.
It is.
It's a like item, it's computer servers, that's a,
It's all
Right.
the technology, and it's all a like item, where
Right.
you're
So
doing
with the computers,
renovation.
I mean, the, so that's why the air packs and stuff like that, if they're gonna have
So if
15
you're
air
gonna
packs,
take the
used
library
to
off, you
be,
take off the record storage room, because it's basically the same thing, it's a
Yeah.
renovation of a building. I mean, you start going down that road,
Well,
you're gonna take off.
The storage room wasn't the storage room. Originally, the money was put in there for records restoration.
Right.
And that was
Yeah.
because it
Changed.
started way before the state had us,
right.
did it,
Yeah.
money
Right.
from that.
All right, if you think the computers should be there, let's leave the computers there then, if it's a like item, right?
Because it's, the computers and the server are all a
Linked.
technology that everybody needs to have.
Oh,
I
that's,
mean, it's
they
just as
need to be
important as a
replaced.
pencil.
Yeah, of course. And the air packs and stuff like that, but
Right, those have to be replaced all
Replaced.
at once
Yeah.
because they expire all at
Yeah.
once.
That's one thing we need to look at when we're talking about computers and servers and stuff, because if we buy all this stuff all at once, guess what? 5 years from now, we're gonna buy it all at once again. So
Right, yeah.
if there's, 15 computers and 12 of them are being utilized, which I don't know, these are just numbers off the top of my head, then maybe we ought to buy, 5 this year, 5 next year, that kind of thing. Maybe we're too far gone in that, and the
Yeah, we are.
technology's, so bad that we need to replace them all now. I don't know what.
Yeah.
We are
There-
at that point, but you
we
need
are
a
at that
computer technology plan
Yeah,
for going forward.
exactly,
Yeah.
so we're not doing this
yeah.
every 5 years.
Right,
Gosh, see,
that's why I didn't know if you wanted to.
yeah, no, leave that on there, I guess that
Yeah, I
should be
think
on
we're
there.
gonna,
Let me,
if it needs to be replaced, it needs to be
if
replaced.
the board doesn't, mind, let me, I'll have to go there because I never get an answer back if I call or email. Maybe I'll just run up quickly to the attorney's office and have him read this and
Yeah, that's fine.
before you say anything
Yep.
and make sure that we're doing that right. We need to do it right,
Right,
so.
I
If,
just-
if it's okay with the board, I'll go up tomorrow morning and,
and
Do
you're
you wanna
talking
write up?
about finding out about
Maybe.
what?
I think a Wednesday,
About
but
the
not tomorrow.
computers and the server, or about
The
the library?
library.
and the library,
Okay.
The whole thing.
Okay, all right.
I don't think that it
I don't
can
think
go
she
there.
I don't think she minds where it goes as long as it gets there.
No, I get that,
I
it's
mean,
not
it
against any department
Right,
or anything like that,
exactly.
if they take it that way, well then, oh
No,
boy,
they're
sorry
not
for
going
them.
to. I think she'll be very happy to have the money all at once rather than in 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely, get
Yeah,
it done
she'd be
today,
happy to do
instead of
that.
tomorrow.
Right.
But yeah, no. I
But
just wanna
because
make
of-
sure it's done right. and
But
done-
because of the plan saying if it's over 10, you have to do it in 2 years, we had to divide it.
I understand that,
Yep.
I understand that.
Chris, if you waited till Wednesday, I could go with you.
I can't, I have my brother, I have to watch him for the day.
Does
wait
anybody
a
else
minute.
have any questions?
Maybe I don't on Wednesday. Thursday I have him.
Okay.
Wednesday I don't. Okay, why don't we wait and then I'll call you right away and let you know,
Okay,
okay?
Yep.
On Wednesday.
that's fine.
All right.
Any other questions anybody has?
Josh?
Or something that's?
Great job.
Yeah, I think this is awesome. Anybody from the audience? No? You had one, Brana, you were up.
No, I was going to try to,
Pardon me.
I was just gonna try to explain what the expenses are for the library renovation, but it's been handled.
Yeah.
I'm
We'll take care of it, so one way or the other. Whether it'll go in the, article or
It's gonna
this.
go somewhere.
It's gonna go somewhere.
Right.
Well, if we're
Chris will be
solidifying
fine with it.
articles tomorrow night, we ought to make sure that it's done and in there and,
Yeah, cause we can always take it out.
yes.
So just put it in as an article, the 14,000, and, okay? So that if it's there, if we, and we can always take it out after. Is there anything else?
No, I guess we just have a different interpretation of what it means, because we thought anything 10,000 or over
For expense.
For expense, we was trying to,
Yeah, I
You know,
know that, and
spread out
and where
and-
I get this from, I have no idea, I gotta read this over, but I wanna get, the
Right.
opinion of the
And
attorney,
that's
if
the
you don't
best
mind.
idea to do that, and then we'll all know.
Then
And if we
we're
have to
right or
make
wrong.
changes to the capital plan, there's time to do that.
That's right.
To put it in as an
Yeah.
article to make the change.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure it's, you know, I'm right, or you guys may be right, and I'm wrong.
And I
mean,
just don't want the
that's never
library-
happened, but it could happen.
Miracles.
They never cease to amaze me.
Okay, but everything, the format's all right, and again,
Yes.
thank you
Looks
very
great.
much.
It looks
Cindy.
great.
Thank you for staying tonight.
Yes, thank you all very much, thank you very much. Okay, minutes approval.
Well, you really can't, because I wasn't
Can't,
here.
you weren't here. So,
Well, the bills and warrants.
that can,
We do
we're
it
not, we
tomorrow?
can't do it, can we do it, yeah, we can
I
add it
didn't
to
warn
the-
it.
Yeah,
You could
Well,
do it as an addition, but I
we-
didn't warn it,
you didn't warn what?
the minutes. Or anything additional for tomorrow, I vote.
Yeah, I'll add it to
Could
the,
do.
add it under the additions to the agenda. How's that? Is that okay? Cap? All right, and also, we don't have the personnel policy with us, because I didn't bring it. So I'd like to, and of course, I did not hear back from the attorney, so I would like to postpone this till tomorrow night as well.
We could do these bills and warrants.
We can do the bills and warrants too. You ready? You got them, Sandy?
Madam Chair,
Hold on a sec. Let me find them so I have
I'll give
them.
it back to you after I read it if you want.
Yes.
Okay. I move that we approve the following bills and warrants. 15-16.12, accounts payable for $7,547.17. Number 51S payroll for $8,100.77. Number 52S payroll for $9,061.81.
I have it. I need a second.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve and sign warrants, 15-16.12, whatever that means. Accounts payable for $7,547.71. 51S payroll, $8,100.77. 52S payroll, $9,061.81. What is your pleasure? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sorry, almost forgot. Kat gave me that eye, that evil one there.
Thank you, Kat.
So we got it. And correspondence, there was something.
Yes, there's two.
Yeah, there's something that I got,
Okay.
which is a class or something that I wonder if maybe you wouldn't like Katrina to go to. Go ahead.
BDCC, UNH Introduction to Project Management course. We received an invite to participate in the Introduction to Project Management course hosted by Brattleboro Development Credit Corporation and the University of New Hampshire. It's a 2-day course, be offered on January 27th and February 3rd, or can sign up for January 28th and February 4th. It's a limited course, and it's offered for a cost of $200 per employee. And due to the limited seating, businesses and are being asked to not send more than 2 employees. There is an attachment, I can hand these out to you because there is an attachment here explaining what the course is about.
Well, we don't need all those.
Well, I was gonna leave it
Give
for
Jeff,
Emily.
one to Jeff.
Oh, okay.
Project management skills are becoming a required core competency for growth and quality-oriented organizations. This workshop breaks down the process of planning and implementing projects into easily mastered steps. Focus on the concepts, practices, and tools of real-world project management. learn how to determine when to use project management techniques, define project boundaries, establish the project structure with team roles and responsibilities, create the project charter, define project scope, create the work breakdown structure, and determining the sequence of project work. Creating a realistic schedule, monitoring progress, and communicating project status. If we had hired a town administrator, it would be something I would highly recommend a town administrator go to. Unless they have already attended something similar to this.
Do you need a decision tonight?
No.
It might be something to ask VLCT if they're gonna be offering a similar course.
Okay.
That has to do with municipalities.
Yes, and
it'd be a lot
that would be,
cheaper.
yes, it would be a whole heck of a lot cheaper.
But it would also be specific to municipalities.
That's exactly right.
They have a calendar of events on their website anyway, correct?
They do,
With
and
that
they-
stuff?
But I could send them this and ask them if they're gonna hold
Yes,
something
that's a
similar.
great
Because they get
idea.
enough requests, they'll add it to their calendar of events.
Yep, that sounds great. Okay, and the other one was?
I had two, didn't I? I don't know.
While she's at that, on the 10th at 6 PM at Putney Central School, there's going to be a meeting on Act 46, which is on school consolidation, which is facing the state. If anybody wants to go, it'd be a good idea.
Where?
Putney Central School.
Do you know what time that is?
6 PM. And I'm having that on 110, which is a Sunday. I got that off the web. You
At
need
what-
to check
what
it.
time?
6 o'clock.
On a Sunday night?
Yeah,
It
it
is a
seems
Sunday,
strange.
That's Alaskan bush people, isn't it?
No, you know what?
How can I live
I'm
without
looking
them?
wrong. It's January 7th. It's
Oh.
Thursday.
Oh, good, thank you
it's
so
this
much,
Thursday.
Sandy.
Yeah.
That's
And
this
January
week.
10th at the
I
top
don't
of
know
it,
where
right.
the correspondence is. I don't see it in my email, other than there was the one that was sent over. this-
Yeah, that's okay.
And that's tabling.
We got a
that one.
Christmas card.
So I
from
think that
San
was,
Souci. We got, yeah, I guess that's.
and we got a card from, a thank you card from BDCC.
BDCC as well, yep. Okay, all right, now call the attorney tomorrow
Okay.
and let him know that you and I are coming again. And,
I'll give them time to get out of town.
well, I'll call because, we want an
It's
answer.
there, yeah.
That okay with you?
Yeah, it's fine.
Unless you wanna go too. I'll have it
What's
warned. Oh, do you wanna meet the guy?
I'm all set.
You okay? All right, then I'll, if there's nothing else,
I made the motion, we adjourn.
Second.
all right, motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.